Well, definitely a contrast from the last game. Last game was 6 goals total, 5 for Florida, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a shootout tonight. We were more structured. The other team was structured too. There was a lot of dumping and dump and chase. Sometimes that's the game. Last time we played them, I think it was a 6-1 game. So who knows what's going to happen Sunday? But definitely this evening, it was a tight game. Chances for both teams. I thought we outchanced them. I thought their goalie was the best player on the ice tonight. And luckily for us, we were able to make one more play than them.
How about the way you played tonight compared to Wednesday?
I'm sorry?
To Wednesday.
Not much difference, to be honest with you. Most of the difference was in our structure. Oftentimes in a high-scoring game, people look at the goalie and say that must be the difference. Realistically, there was not a big difference, and that tells you how much a goaltender is dependent upon his teammates and the structure of the game in order to be successful. When a team opens up and they start to give up breakaways, I think we gave up 5 last game. We stopped 4 of the 5, but 1 of them went in, and that's enough to win. And that was evident tonight against their team. So that oftentimes happens. The success that the goalies on this team have, not myself, but the goalies, Stuart, Ryopel, and myself, is based upon the structure and the team defense that the coaching staff puts in place. And really, when the team is doing well defensively, meaning less goals against, that is the reason. It's oftentimes, I would put it at 80-20, defensive play by our team, 20% goaltending.
I know Dean was critical of the defense after the Wednesday night game.
Yes.
And he's very, very complimentary of
Yes.
tonight. Really a big difference.
Right. Well, I think sometimes people start to get really focused on one particular period or one particular play or game. If you look over the last 15 games, I believe we're 12-2, 0-1. So on a whole, and one of those losses was a 2-1 loss at home to Gwinnett. So that's obviously a very strong defensive game as well. So on a whole, I think that the defense has been great. And the other night was a lapse. The other night we weren't prepared to play. Everyone recognizes that. The fans knew that. We knew that. And that does happen. It's unfortunate when it happens at home. But it will happen in pro hockey. You play 75 regular season, 4 preseason, and hopefully 20-something postseason. That's a lot of hockey, so it's going to happen. I will take one bad game out of every 15 any day of the week.
That's true. Could the postponement play any kind of a mental effect on the team?
From
ready to
Tuesday,
play? Yeah, Tuesday postponed, then you come back and say, well, we didn't, we were supposed to play.
The effect on Wednesday's game?
Yeah.
It's possible. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but the bottom line is whether or not we skate in the morning, whether or not we play the night before. Yes, we did not have ice Sunday, Monday, or essentially Tuesday, and I don't think anyone is going to use that as an excuse, because the bottom line is if you're hurt, oftentimes people are able to play through that pain. I know Michael Jordan was very famous coming from Chicago. Michael Jordan was always famous for playing his best games when he had the flu. So that's certainly more adversity than not playing for a day. So I don't think that that's really an excuse. Definitely probably played a part. I'm not going to say it didn't. But the bottom line is, as a professional, you have to be prepared every night to play. And you're not going to always have your best. You're not going to be at 100% of your capacity, of your actual maximum capacity. However, you have to be at 100% of whatever you have that night. Yeah. And that's really the difference between professional and amateur. And unfortunately, like I said, 1 out of every 15 games, that will sneak in. But you got to remember, 15 games is over a month, and that's a long. That 15 games is probably in 28 days. And that's a lot.
Ray said you broke in a new mask now.
Oh yeah, I had the new one. I had the new mask tonight going. We had the old mask I had from 5 years ago, believe it or not, and we got the new one. But we were on a hot streak, and I didn't want to change it. I tried to, and the boys said absolutely not. I think they were going to hide the new one on me if I tried. And Florida ran out of the magic, I guess you could say. But no one really thinks that. But yeah. It's just a fun thing that we have in the locker room. So I put the new one on tonight, and I'm going to retire it. So it's a perfect mask.
Some of the players in the locker room said they feed off the energy of the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
What is it like as a goalie? I mean, can you really get a sense of the crowd? I mean, because you're really looking ahead and not really behind you and around you. I mean,
right. Goaltending is very different. The comparison that a lot of guys make is to a pitcher. Oftentimes, a pitcher does not try to feed off the emotion of the crowd. you can feed off the emotion of the crowd, and it's much easier when you can go out and hit someone. But when you're stationary and you're the recipient of hits or blows through the puck, oftentimes you kind of feel like I want everything to be nice and quiet and calm, and that's kind of what I try to do out there. So we definitely appreciate the fans, and from my perspective, it's not so much feeding off of it to get energy to hit or to make a play or to take a slap shot, but it's more about the enthusiasm that the community has for what it is that I'm doing as a profession. And definitely when you commit, you're essentially 25 years of my life to something. It's very rewarding, and it feels great to see other people enthusiastic about what you have a passion for. Some people's passion might be fishing or art or something else, but whenever someone can share that with another person, that's really what makes it special. And that's why I think deep down what all these guys really feel. That's what they're feeding off of, their passion. They're sharing with other people that they've never met in a totally different state, in a totally different country for a lot of guys. And that's really how we generate enthusiasm is off the crowd sharing that experience with us.
Thanks, Francis.